Welcome to another Sunday Shorts. Today our book is by Vera Brosgol, and I want to thank Macmillan Publishers for allowing me to share the story with you today. As you can see, it has won an award. It won the Caldecott Honor, and it's one of my favorite books from that year. It's called Leave Me Alone. Take a closer look at her face. You can tell that she is hollering, "Leave me alone!" What else do we see on the cover of our story today? A bear, a child in front of some houses, a mountain goat, and an alien holding something. Let's see what happens in Leave Me Alone. Nice bright orange end papers. There she is. We can see that this is what she is saying. It says, "Leave me alone." Once there was an old woman. She lived in a small village, in a small house. What is she doing? She knitting with a very big family. Do you think we can count all those kids? Let's try. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Oh my goodness. Take a look at her face. Can you make your face look like her face? Let's try. How do you think she feels when she makes this face? What do you think? Winter was coming. That meant she had some very important knitting to do. But it wasn't getting done. Why not? Why is her knitting not getting done? What do kids do? They run around. They play. They need help. They need to be fed. Her grandchildren were very curious about her knitting. Were you supposed to hit the ball with a stick? Could you eat it? Could you make your brother eat it? Why did the ball get smaller and smaller as you chased it? Uh-oh. The old woman was at the end of her rope. So she made her bed as neatly as she could, with kids jumping on it. She swept the floorboards until they more or less shone. She drank tea from her samovar. She packed up her things in a big sack, and as she left, she shouted back, "Leave me alone!" She got her big sack and off she goes. The old woman walked through the deep, dark forest. She made a fire so that she could see what she was doing. Then she sat down and began to knit. The bear family was very curious about the light from her fire and about what she might taste like. See the little bear cubs? What is Mama Bear gonna do? I'm a little nervous for the old woman. Do you remember what the title of the book is? What does she say? Let's say it together. Leave me alone, the old woman shouted. But they didn't listen because bears don't speak English. So she picked up her sack and left. There she is. What is she climbing up? What do you think that is behind the bears? Do you remember one of the pictures from our cover? Does that look similar? I think she's climbing a mountain. The old woman climbed up the mountainside. It was cold, so she found a small, sheltered place. Then she sat down and began to knit. And who is peeking into her small, sheltered space? I see two eyes. I see two horns. The mountain goats were excited to have a visitor, especially one that brought snacks. Are they supposed to be snacks, those yarn balls? Nope. Leave me alone, the old woman shouted. But the goats were too busy fighting over the red ones, which they all agreed were the best. So she picked up her sack and left. Look at how full they are. Oh no. The old woman climbed higher and higher up the mountain. She reached the top and climbed onto the moon. She found a rock that was shaped like a chair. She sat down and began to knit. Oh, she's looking at little green moon men. The little green moon men had never seen a woman before, old or otherwise. They examined her with her handheld scanners that went beep boop. Can you do that with me? Can you pretend to hold up a scanner? Let's make some beep boop noises. Beep boop, beep boop, beep beep, boop boop, beep boop. Look at the old woman's face. How is she feeling right now? Probably pretty upset. I think so. And did you notice? Uh-oh. There's a curious goat coming onto the moon too. And what does she shout? Leave me alone, the old woman shouted. But the little green moon men couldn't hear her because they didn't have any ears. So she picked up her sack and left through a wormhole. Look at that. The goat is eating one of the handheld scanners. The void on the other side of the wormhole was very dark and very, very quiet. She was absolutely, completely, utterly alone. It was perfect. Look at her happily sitting and knitting. Soon she had no more yarn and 30 little sweaters. And she was alone. Look at her face now. She's contemplating something, I think. Do you ever get lonely? Do you ever feel alone? That's something that a lot of people feel sometimes. What makes you feel better if you're feeling lonely? Sometimes a hug, or calling or video chatting with a friend or a family member, playing games, finding something fun to do by yourself. Let's see, what is she going to do when she feels alone? She put the 30 sweaters into her big sack. She swept the void until it was a nice matte black. She had a cup of tea from her samovar, and she picked up the sack and left through another wormhole. When she came out the other side, everything was right where she'd left it. And she didn't say a word. I think all of those kids are pretty excited to see the old woman. The end. So she was knitting in that story and wanted to be left alone. And like I asked earlier, what do you do when you feel lonely or feel alone? And sometimes we want to be alone, don't we? Sometimes it's natural and it's okay to feel like you want to have some alone time. Maybe you don't want to be hugged. Maybe you want to play by yourself. Maybe you need to just sit and be still by yourself for a little while, and that's okay too. Thank you so much for listening and watching me read Leave Me Alone. This book is available from the library if you wanted to check it out and borrow it for your family as well. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Be sure to stay tuned for Tuesday and Friday story times when we read 1 or 2 books and also do a couple songs as well.